Good afternoon, everybody. Hopefully, you're up for a really good webinar. We are here today to talk about how marketing has changed, not necessarily your customer. So we will be having an interesting webinar around AI coming in, being kind of a superstar entrance, exploring how that's transformed kind of marketing processes and blueprints, and driving into applications and different buying approaches, influence of social media marketing, cookieless future, content creation, and so forth. I'm your host today, so my name is Simon. I've been at Spotler for about 10 years or more. If you ever meet me, I do like chocolate and cider, so if you want to bribe me, from a work point of view, I do like trying new things, different things in marketing, testing, A/B testing, and that's where some of this information will be coming from. We also, obviously, the reason that you're here today is to hear from Victoria. So Victoria will be coming on in a minute. She's going to be delivering the main presentation around how the customer hasn't changed, but marketing has. So thank you very much, Victoria, for doing this. But before we start, a little bit of housekeeping. So it's around 30 minutes, 45 minutes. You can submit your questions throughout. So on the platform, top right, you should see a little questions icon. So if you've got any questions, please submit those throughout, because I'll be having a Q&A with Victoria at the end. There'll be a lot of information, so don't feel you've got to scribble everything down. This webinar is recorded. You'll get a copy of these slides as well. So don't feel like you've got to take notes. Just sit there, enjoy it, take in the core bits that we're trying to get across, and we'll give you all of the information afterwards. For those of you that don't know Spotler, and even some of the customers in Spotler, we're a marketing automation platform across Europe. So offices and presence in Holland, in The Hague, where I'm presenting from today. We've got offices in the UK, headquarters in Guildford, in Germany, so Berlin and Hamburg, and we've also got a presence in the Nordics and Spain. Thousands of users, thousands of customers, billions of messages sent a year through the Spotler platform. And what we're trying to achieve and trying to give marketing professionals are tools that they can make an impact with. So not just sending out an email, not just an SMS, but a marketing platform that they can actually create a recurring impact to their customer base. What that generally kind of results down to is quite simply, we're trying to help our customers either make money or save money. So from their communications, they're either bringing in new business, getting more from their current customers, or they're doing automation and processes that are helping them save money. They're getting data points that they can be aware of that helps them save money. So save money or make money, that's what we're all about. And what that means is there is a number of products in the platform. So we've got a CDP, site search for e-commerce people out there. We've got a CRM, an events tool for the B2B out there with an IP lookup. We've got a social platform. We've got a connect platform that can connect all your data points into one. So we are really trying to make sure that you can have that impact and have those data points rather than it being scattered, but all in one place. And just so you get a little bit of a look, I know this is possibly a hard slide to look at, but all of the products are synced into one single sign-on. You can access whether it's the social in the top right, you've got the email in the middle, you've got CRM in bottom left, but your data all goes into one, so you can go into different parts of the product that helps you do that multi-channel, seamless marketing automation. Obviously, we are a software platform, but we offer service as well, support. If you're struggling with something, you can call in, live chat, email in support. You get an account management that help you through your life cycle with us, or whether it's trying to get certain programs of work in place, use certain parts of the tool. We're also very very up on deliverability to make sure that you can get those emails, for instance, placed, delivered, ideally in the inbox. And if you don't have the time, the resource to do it yourself, we also have a services to help you along the way. So just before we finish, obviously, don't take our word for it. We've got Trustpilot. We've also got G2 review, a load of customers saying what they like, what we can also do a little bit better, but hopefully unbiased reviews of how Spotler's doing within the marketplace. So thank you for indulging me in what Spotler is and what we do. I'm going to hand over to Victoria now. So research principal at G2. This is who you've come to hear from. She's going to tell us how marketing has been changing and will change over the next couple of years. Victoria, over to you.
Thank you, Simon. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon and good morning for those of us, if anyone is on the East Coast. That's where I am today. My name is Victoria Blackwell, and I am a research principal specializing in marketing and digital advertising at G2. You may have heard of us. We are the largest software B2B marketplace. If you've ever seen a G2 badge, a G2 review, that's exactly who we are. But today we're going to talk about really quickly for most of us. I'm not going to drag it on. I'm going to make sure that we have all the information, all of the good stuff, and none of the boring stuff for you today. But our session today is called Your Customer Hasn't Changed, Marketing Has. And together we're going to explore some trends for today and tomorrow in the B2B landscape. And I know there's some B2C people out there, and I just wanted to let you know that I did actually start my career in B2C brand marketing. So one of the big things when I came to G2, especially in the marketing digital ad space for B2B, is that I like to start off every session by saying, I have the best of both worlds. And I do know that for our B2C marketers out there, I have been telling the good word about how B2B needs to market like B2C. So there are absolutely applicable strategies across the board here. So don't be discouraged. But I'm going to talk about kind of like that opening where trends and B2B landscape and all the big buzzwords that we hear. And these tales and trends are often of shared struggle, and they're relatable in every arena from early career to C-suite. And I've had the opportunity to watch the big picture unfold. And what I've learned is rooted not only in my experiences as a practitioner, but a perpetual state of trial and error with our vendors on G2. And you can see from my title, it says research principal, which can have a few meanings depending on the industry. But for us at G2, it means having your finger on the pulse of your subject matter expertise, watching it carefully as it fluctuates with the breakneck pace of technology. And that's exactly what we do at G2. So we do this to better prepare our vendors for what's to come and how to stay agile. And over my tenure, I've seen these vendors create space for their buyers to build and grow with them, which has been truly such a joy. But the crux of our session today is, of course, about the customer, but it's also about you. And how you use marketing will shape and define your business this year. So as the old adage goes, sometimes to move forward, we must look back. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it off to look back to 2018. Think about that for a minute. What do you remember? I remember Harry and Meghan got married. South Korea hosted the Winter Olympics, and I packed 2 suitcases and moved across the ocean for my dream job. I was the new brand marketing manager for the largest mobile app groups in the world, and I was 26 years old, and I knew very little about software. Truly, barely anything. I've got no shame in it. We've all been there, but I did know about people and the power of brand and how its first impression can make or break the customer experience. And from then on, my entire life was brand, UGC, social media, marketing for the user rather than to them. And here's what I mean by that. B2C is narrative focused, and you can grow with your customer. You're evolving with the ebb and flow of their feedback, which I think is really kind of telling a really good tale of how B2B tries to market to their customer. So I want to fast forward to about 3 years later, and my time at G2 is just beginning. I'm saddled with years of practitioner experience. I'm educated, but a little naive to the fact that coming from a global app powerhouse to a global software marketplace would come with its own set of challenges. And one being the type of marketers that I would now be working with, which is my good old B2Bs. So when I made the switch to B2B, I noticed that their approach is much more technical. And I think that's because from a B2B perspective, a customer is looking at just the technical piece, the product. because the technical piece is what they're paying for, right? And the customer in the B2B mind just wants to get the job done. But the struggles of 2020, I think, proved this to be incorrect. And people wanted to know who they were buying from, not just what they were buying. And the pandemic changed the way that all customers saw value, regardless of B2B or B2C. And that value doesn't only lie within the product, but in the entire end-to-end experience. From the first touch point to the last, it all counts. So I want you to take a moment and read the first line of that quote. This is a direct quote from our G2 buyer behavior report in 2021, proving that it takes more than just the product and its promises to win the buyer. And now it's been a long time since I crossed the ocean and I learned the lessons of the customer and the vendor. And we know more now than we ever did before, which brings us to today. Today's problem stems from twofold concerns: our current market pressures and business priorities. We know that 58% of B2B companies missed revenue targets in 2023. We know that 32% of B2B buyers say economic uncertainty is driving changes, and that 61% of leaders ranked personalizing the customer experience as their highest priority. In a sentiment that marketing practitioners know all too well, doing more with less is now the benchmark for everyday operations. So remember when I said earlier that the crux of our session today is, of course, about the customer, but it's also about you. How you use marketing will shape and define your business in 2025. This is how we turned our shared struggle into strategy that works for us. So think about these takeaway solutions. We're going to dive into all of them, but in order to make sure that we are marketing for our customer, we need to make sure that we understand buyer behavior and how it's changing due to the evolution of AI. We need to be visualizing industry impact in order to gauge how it will continue to affect our overall bottom lines, and to implement now in order to think upstream and be in prevention mode for this year. So let's begin. We know that the market is evolving. This is something that I think has happened truly in the most breakneck pace possible over the last 2 to 3 years, with AI coming on the scene a lot harder and faster than it has ever before. And the use cases for it are becoming a lot more critical, as well as software growth that at one point was strictly national and now it's global. And because software is truly a global product, there's no reason why you shouldn't find your next efficiency tool from a company in South Korea or a collaboration software from Australia. Logistics is no longer an issue across the board. So we're looking to a global market, and it makes sense because the industry changes we'll be discussing do happen on a global scale. They're not isolated in any way. And because the software market is global, we can also expect growth at a global scale with the help of AI. For 2023 as a whole, AI categories grew literally 44% year over year based on new products, and that's more than double the growth of the next fastest growing category on G2 specifically. G2 has over 2,000 plus categories on G2, so that growth is pretty staggering. And in the top 5 AI-led categories for new product growth, I want to highlight that marketing is 5th, right where that red arrow is, and design is 2nd. So we'll come back to that little shining star, so don't forget about that. So with those trends in mind, we have to ask ourselves, how is the buyer evolving with them? What is still important? What is changing? Where should you be focusing? And this is very much where we need to start. We know that 80% of buyers prefer self-serve buying journeys, which means that before they even contact anyone in sales, they are looking for themselves. They are looking to get all of the information they possibly can from your site, from your content. Anything that you publish that tells a clear brand story is what they're going to be looking at. As well as 67% of buyers engage with sales after making a decision to buy or not, which means that anytime that you have a client reach out or a potential vendor wanting to know more or purchase a product, they know exactly what they want and what their objective is. They don't need to be quote unquote sold anymore. Now, we're also seeing that the consumerization of B2B software is coming hard and fast. Like, just as we seek reviews for restaurants, hotels, Amazon purchases, we literally considered being called the Amazon of B2B software because the amount of reviews that we get really do impact the buying decision. So the customer is seeking authentic feedback. We know this, and they're looking for it from trusted sources, like their peers who are real users of software, which is why they are so prepared before contacting a sales team. This new buyer is not only educated, but they are equipped, and they are not in any way shy about telling you that. They're so equipped that they just don't want the self-service. They want scalable ease as well, because we know that over 80% of respondents have said that it's important for them that their software, any software that they buy, integrates with their existing solutions, ranking from ease of integration, even over the cost of the software, which is proving that ease over cost is becoming one of the greatest pain points for buyers across all marketing software. And to avoid additional complexities, buyers would also rather work with fewer vendors and use a single solution versus multiple tools. And that's, I think, also speaking to the consolidation trend that we saw a couple of years ago, how a lot of products that had individual products, maybe a suite of 5, maybe went to a suite of 2, or made it an all-inclusive packaging. That's something that we've noticed in the trends as well. Speaking of trends, we also know that AI has become not only our greatest friend, but also a potential enemy when it comes to leading us into the future. The hype around generative AI has spurred a real frenzy of businesses looking to secure a competitive advantage. And according to a 2023 survey of over 1,700 B2B software decision makers, we found that 81% say that it is important for the software they're purchasing moving forward has AI functionality. And what's more is that the buyer today actually trusts AI-powered solutions, whereas that 78% trust the accuracy and reliability of AI, even though we're still very much in the exploratory phase and use case arena of AI. So this level of trust, paired with the fact that companies are willing to spend on AI despite economic uncertainty, creates the perfect storm for businesses looking to inform future business strategy with the help of AI. And our customer knows that AI is important, and they also know that it takes time and money to be as agile as possible, and they're willing to put that into the stakes of their marketplace to be successful for this year. So now that we know that buyers are more educated, they're begging software to be agile for their business needs. And AI is very much knocking on the front, the back, and the side door of our bottom line. How do we come out on top? How do we win? Our win is by knowing and understanding what strategies work for obtaining and retaining our customer. We know that with an AI forward landscape, we need to be thinking about the technology impact, and that is it helping, hurting, progressing our ability to relate, delight, and engage. But how do we do that? How do we understand this new era of not only informed, but technologically and brand conscious consumers? We need to connect the dots. These dots are very much a little bit of everything. The pepperonis on your pizza of marketing, if you will. They need to be not only connected, but they need to make sure that they work for you. That's across automation, UGC, apps, personalization, analytics, AI. All of these things are now more important than ever when thinking about your customer in 2025. So the consensus of our metaphorical dots that we just saw is that the marketing landscape today looks much different even from a year ago. And our customer is smarter. They want tools and tactics that work for them, not against them. So now we're going to be exploring how AI and automation practices in conjunction with digital marketing and ad approaches can set marketers up for success so that your buyer remains front and center. And the way we're going to do that is with AI and automation, the year of now, which is implementation, brand analysis and intelligence, SEO search reinvention, as well as digital marketing and advertising callouts that will be within social media and influencer marketing, cookieless futures, and video and content creation. Now, like Simon said, all of these slides will be available after, so feel free to take notes as well. But there's a couple, we're moving kind of into the strategy portion of the webinar. So I'm going to give you guys a little minute to get your computers, get your notes, all the good stuff. Okay, here we go. AI and automation. We know that AI can be a marketer's best friend. 2023 was very much the year of wow, where generative AI was the catchphrase of the year. 2024 was when we actually saw solid use cases for adoption, and we're predicting that 2025 will be the year of now. We know that AI could become a $1.3 trillion market by 2032. So the investment of your AI products needs to scale business value from the start. And according to our G2 data, about 40% of AI power users are expecting a much faster ROI. Your way to win here is understanding how AI implementation will save you time or ROI. So anytime that you purchase a tool with AI, those should be the first two questions that you're hoping to either answer or accomplish within a certain amount of time. Because especially we know that with budgets are on the line and efficiency is key, this is something to make sure that you're seeing tangible ROI from. Next, we have AI and automation with brand analysis and intelligence. Be on the lookout for tools like Profound. They're using AI to harness the most sought after answers, and it's paving the way for marketers of tomorrow. This information that previously would take days collecting through surveys, reviews, rankings, etc., can now be understood through analyzing how AI performs and how it's talking about brands. Your way to win here is identifying how AI can automate traditional approaches to analytics in ways that you may have not thought before. Now, this means doing a little research, understanding if you have a good idea of where you think your brand sits and how your customers see you. And if you're kind of struggling with that, I would suggest using a tool like this to make sure that you have the fullest landscape of understanding your customer. Now, SEO reinvention, SEO search reinvention. I've heard it both ways, but this is very much, I think, where AI has come into its most relevance, where the days of SEO and search are absolutely being redefined by AI. And the traditional SEO methods are falling short, which is why new factors are influencing content visibility. Think about the new AI overview from Google and Gemini. We've had that for, a couple months now, maybe about 6 months. It's not always what you need. And the product that I mentioned on the last slide, Profound, is also changing the way that search operates with AI. You can go from the traditional top 10 pages of results or the fill in the blank answers in the Google search bar. And in this quote from the Financial Times, they're talking about Profound specifically in comparison to general search, whereas general web search as a whole has been made redundant. If your customers are searching for you in traditional search, would you not think that this would maybe be not only a brand move, but a visibility move to kind of see how AI could help you? So your way to win here is to know that traditional methods may not be serving your business needs anymore. I'm going to go ahead and play this video for you guys. I think it's really, really cool.
Way over half of digital advertising dollars go to a certain search engine or a certain social network. Save some for the rest of us. At Mountain, we're bringing what you love about search and social to TV. Choose your own audience, set your own parameters, see immediate results. We're turning connected TV into performance TV. About time. It's getting a little claustrophobic in here. Visit mountain.com and schedule a demo today.
Yes, so the sophistication of campaigns are now the ones that don't feel like ads. So what we just watched was 100% an ad, and they can integrate into everyday life. And a great example of this is this Mountain ad campaign with Ryan Reynolds. Mountain is a performance TV advertising company, also known as CTV or connected TV. And this is a B2B software breaking the barrier to entry by solving a problem on a medium that is accessible to everyone. I, as a consumer, literally saw this ad while watching Peacock, which is the US version of Hey You for my European counterparts. But this kind of just shows that B2B can be accessible anywhere. And regardless of where people and how people work 9 to 5, they are still people at the end of the day who watch TV, who stream, who still go outside. Out of home is not dead. That is one thing I think is really interesting, especially for brand awareness. So your way to win here is to think about how your channels are making an impact. So digital marketing and advertising focusing on cookieless futures. This is something that I am incredibly passionate about, and a lot of the work that I do at G2 is centered around this, especially last year. But one of the things that I'm noticing is that digital ad is also adapting to this new world order. We know that third-party data is on its way out, and we very much need a solution that adheres to privacy standards while also maintaining that personalization level that customers are dying for. So what I think is really interesting about this space is that we have now entered this new world of behavioral targeting and cookieless advertising. And these are solutions like ID free, and it uses AI to offer personalized but also privacy driven results that in some cases perform 30% better than competitors. And we know that from the 2024 State of Programmatic report that 58% of marketers are anticipating migrating the majority or all of their targeting efforts to cookie-free tactics by the close of last year. How many of you on this webinar have migrated so that there are cookie-free tactics across the board? I would be surprised, and I would love to hear if some of you have. I know that with our European counterparts, a lot of GDPR is kind of pushing that migration a little bit faster, but I can solidly say that from a US perspective, it is not moving as fast. And this is mostly because a lot of people rely on third-party data, but the customer is also, like we said, smarter and more equipped than ever before. And they don't want the start of an online experience to start with a pop-up bar to accept or reject cookies. So your way to win here is to know that ethical advertising is non-negotiable. Your customer is smarter than that, and they don't want to be put off right from the beginning. So finally, we have digital marketing and advertising from a video and content creation perspective. We know that with attention spans are shortening, high quality video, audio, and graphics are the key to capturing attention and contributing to brand trust. Graphic design will be big to showcase creativity with AI help. Design is the second fastest growing software market behind AI. Remember that little blue star we had on the top 5 fastest AI growth within categories? Design is the second fastest because it is the most applicable and it has a higher ROI, making it worth the investment. Your way to win here is to know and remember that customers care about your look and feel. Being brand conscious is the easiest and most effective way to connect with your customer right off the bat. Using tools to understand from a design perspective how you tell a story, how you tell a story about your product, how you tell a story about your company is going to do you a lot more good than just saying like, blue works for us. It's so much deeper than that now. Okay, that was a lot of slides. I feel like it was a lot of information, but the good news is that we are now at the point in the story where your ways to win, your trends, all of those have been written down, hopefully. And I now want you to think back from the beginning of my talk when I told you that how you use marketing will shape and define your business in 2025. We are finally at the how. Your tools reflect their trust. We are all experiencing a coming of age in tech, and we are now at the point in the story where the townspeople need to trust their hero to lead them into this future. This narrative is now focused on trust. Every time a customer purchases from you, they are trusting you to help them solve a problem. And if you lose that trust, you will rarely ever get it back. This is how marketing has changed. Your go-to-market strategy needs to ebb and flow with the customer needs, customer pain points, because that's how you gain the customer's trust. In a time when churn and retention are probably at the top of mind of every C-suite meeting and are being felt at every level within major companies, this trust is a non-negotiable, truly. The ways to win that we just talked about were chock full of real world takeaways and examples of businesses that are meeting their customers where they're at with the technology of today. So I want to kind of leave you with this as we wrap up and we go into the Q&A. Marketing has changed. Your customer knows it. And now the choice is up to you. Will your marketing inspire trust or will it lose it? So I want to thank you guys so much for joining me in partnership with Spotler today. This QR code links to my LinkedIn as well as my email. I would love to hear from you guys if you had thoughts or anything like that on the content I shared with you today. I am publishing later in April my first research insights report, which is part of our larger series that we're doing. It will be all about trends within marketing and digital advertising, as well as some predictions and prescriptions for the year to come. So Simon, I will go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thank you, Victoria. Thank you very much. So if you have any questions, can you start submitting them? I'm just going to spend probably 2 more minutes just showing you a little bit of some Spotler tools while those questions come in. So if you can indulge me for 2 minutes, and then Victoria, once they're in, I'm going to collate them all and I'll read them out to you. So I guess the bit that I just wanted to share from an AI point of view, I wanted to share some AI bits that Spotler are doing at the moment. And this piece relates to the e-commerce part of our software, where we're trying to help companies predict what types of communications to send to their customers. So we now have a customer life value prediction model of deciles of 1 to 10, and what that generally means is we'll group people into certain numbers, and that number grouping will predict what kind of segments, but also what journey they get. So no longer now do we have to do the kind of batch and blast. We've got some new stock in, we want to send this, or someone's just bought this, we want to put them down this journey. We can actually predict what journey they should go into based on their behavior, but also their past purchasing, what they've returned. So no longer do you have to now start promoting, someone buys red shoes, I'm going to give them red socks, but those shoes are starting to be returned. We can stop that promotion of that particular product going out. So we can start to overlay that data and build those audiences based on the prediction of that data that we're bringing in. That also means we can, target customers that are likely to buy. So whether that's creating audiences of those decile groups, and then creating that audiences in Meta, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, and we can do personalized messages and product recommendations. As I mentioned at the start, that make money or save money scenario, we're trying to help our customers do one of those two things. And the lookalike audiences that you can do as well. So you've got customers, therefore can we build audiences that look like those customers to try and get you more business? So tailor those ad campaigns, segment those audiences based on your highest value customers, for example. Great ways of using AI overlaid with machine learning and segmentation. For B2B marketers on the line, we want to make sure that we've got all of those digital activities going into one place. So whether it's a book a demo, form fills, asset downloads, web pages, event bookings, social interactions, we have them all in one place, which means in both scenarios we can send the right person the right message at the right time. So just a little bit of Spotler products there. So we've had some questions coming in, Victoria, and apologies if I look in 2 different places now, but we've got one coming in which I thought would come in with this around AI, but someone's saying, how can brands rebuild a trust with customers in an era of skepticism and fatigue? So is there kind of any tips and hints you've got around that kind of trust building, whilst also trying to take advantage of all of the tools that are out there for us to use?
Yeah, of course. I think, and this is a question I get a lot actually. I think it's so scary to kind of understand how your brand is being talked about in the larger sphere around customers, around potential customers. And I think one of the best ways to gain or rebuild or continue building that trust is really diving in and committing to understanding your customer. And this is not like, oh, I'll look at my buying groups, like, oh, like I'll look at my downloads. This is looking at sentiment. This is investing in tools that really harness the capability to not only understand how people are searching, talking, looking for you, but that also shapes how your current customers feel in regards to, I guess from an analytics perspective, every piece of your business really could be analyzed with sentiment tools. And that's something that I feel like doesn't really get a lot of good press, because I feel like it's difficult to turn the curtain back and look at maybe the bits that you don't really want to see.
Yes.
But it's
you might not want to. You might not like what you see.
It's not there.
Absolutely. It can't be happening if you can't see it.
You, exactly. Yes, exactly. But I promise you, addressing customer concerns when they come up, whether it be in reviews or customer support, is truly, you want to think of it like an interaction at the shop. Like, if the woman who was checking you out or the man who helped you in the aisle, like, was mean or nice or exceptionally helpful, that makes an impact. So you want to think about the most basic interaction that your customer or potential customer has with your brand and start from there. Like, treat them like how you would a real life experience that you go through every day. That is truly probably one of my best piece of advice, as well as investing in and understanding your sentiment.
Brilliant. We've also got one around how you balance kind of data-driven marketing with the human aspect of engagement. I think you covered it a little bit there. Of you kind of need to make sure you just don't let the machine run away with it, if that makes sense.
Right. Yes. You, I remember this so vividly, when AI, like, content creation really kind of came on the scene. My copy team came to me and was like, I feel like this is going to replace me. And I have a lot of questions about job security, and I'm very concerned about how AI is going to impact my role, my job, my work, etc. And for a time, it was kind of like, oof, like, how mature is this technology? What can we use it for? But fast forwarding a year later, I think one of the biggest takeaways that we kind of just swallowed and said, this will now be here forever. We will never not have a time moving forward where AI doesn't impact any, like, work that we're doing. Like, it always will in some way. So that being said, I think understanding that you are the driver, you are the brain, and AI is the hands. So it can only really do, like, that's the we thought about that one for a while. AI can only do essentially what it thinks you want, while also you being kind of the director. So whether the symbolism of brain and hands works, or you are driving the car, you're directing the carriage, up to you. But the main takeaway here is that you have to be the driver. If you try and let AI do all of the work, especially from like a campaign perspective, you won't get anywhere. You have to really find that, I guess, to your question, that significant balance between letting it do the efficiency pieces for you, rather than it letting it run wild, truly, like, with your strategy, and be like, oh, like, we'll see what it does and then we'll go from there. Opposite.
Absolutely. I think that's you've got to have that check and balance with anything, but especially with the output of some of the AI. We've got another one, and this is an interesting one, because we're at Spotler, we have small businesses using the software and we have large businesses using the software, and there's one that's coming around that particular thing. How can small businesses compete with larger brands that have bigger budgets and more resources? I'm assuming that's specifically towards the AI piece of using it and understanding it.
Yeah. So I have worked, in my experience, for startups, for huge conglomerates, and the one thing that I would say that is consistent about all of them is that having kind of it doesn't matter the budget if you don't have the authentic connection. So you could be spending hundreds and thousands of dollars on campaigns that give you really low ROI, or depending on if you're trying to use it for social or if you're using it for analytics, or really whatever use case it may be, the conversion is what will tell you what's working. So if you know that, even if you don't have the biggest budget, but let's say that when you use AI in your content copy, it has like a 20% increase in conversion, that's one of the ways that you can still use it. And you can use a tool like Grammarly, which is free. You know, like, it's really about kind of understanding where you can A/B essentially with AI, regardless of budget, to help understand where you can authentically implement it. Because I can tell you, some of the campaigns that I've seen coming out in the last year, is very like, oh, a human had nothing to do with that, and I can tell. So as long as you have and you might just be saying like, oh, well, like she works in the industry, so she knows. No, I still am a consumer. I live in New York City. Like I've lived here for almost 10 years. I can tell when a human generates a piece of content or a campaign or an email versus AI. I can
Yeah.
absolutely tell. And they are now literally teaching kids that in school.
Yeah. Which
So
is
your
which.
customer is smart. Yeah, your customer is smart. So having that authentic connection regardless of budget is still what will set you apart.
Yeah, I think you touched on a bit there, well, which is really important, and the bit that I like doing within marketing, which is just testing as well. And as you said, if
Absolutely.
if something's doing really well over here, you can refine it and test it, but you have to have that A/B test to start with. So
100%. You
absolutely,
need it.
yes, yes. I've got a couple more. I don't want to keep everyone on for too long, but
Yeah,
it looks
keep
like
them
people are
coming.
staying on. So we've got somebody's interested about outdated marketing tactics that brands still rely on but should be abandoned. So are there any things that happen at the moment that you think, well, maybe AI will either, I guess, not make defunct, but will make it easier, or we move on from, or stuff that we should maybe not stop doing, but think about how we do them before we keep doing them, maybe is a better way of saying it.
Totally. The one that comes to mind right off the bat is just like spray and pray, like throw it to wall, hope it sticks. The cool thing about AI is that the analytics capabilities now are like above and beyond
Yeah.
to kind of showcase where something went wrong. And that I think is a huge opener to a lot of questions and a lot of answers that most people don't really think about. And in my report for that's coming out later in April, make sure you're following me on LinkedIn to get a copy of that. But there is a piece in there about analytics and how crucial it is for marketers to rely on their analytics, because I feel like I always say that marketing is the perfect blend of art and science. And the science part, I feel like, hasn't really been hitting as hard as I think that it should, because everyone's worried about the copy, the creative, the
Yeah.
landing page, like da 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 da. When in reality, you need to be focusing on the analytics. And with the help of AI, you'll be able to kind of understand a lot faster where you can do a lot more with the tools that you have already that will impact your customer on a campaign level,
Mhm.
rather than just being like, well, they did this, so we should do this. Like that might not
Yeah.
work for you. And to be honest, it might not have worked for them either. Like you'll never know. But what you will know is if from your analytics if it did. So that was probably one thing I'm very, very hopeful, cautiously optimistic as well, that AI will be
I
helping us
was
with
going to
that.
say it's
Efficiency all the way.
very interesting at the moment. We're starting to build and implement natural query language reporting, and it's looking so amazing. You can just
Yeah,
ask it,
it's
what
cool.
went wrong with this campaign, why have I got a drop off on this, and it comes, you can have like a conversation with it. It comes back and builds the reports, and yeah, it's pretty amazing what's coming out. That's for sure, and
It's
what's in the
amazing.
industry.
Like big nerd moment. Love that.
I
Love
was
that
going to
stuff.
say, yeah. I've got one more before I let you go. Someone's come in. Let me just grab that one to make sure it's not what I've already. How can marketers ensure that they're generally listening to their customers rather than just making assumptions? You kind of touched on that with the sentiment piece earlier, and you've mentioned about reporting, but I guess this gives us the opportunity just to ram those two bits home. So over to you, Victoria, to
Yeah.
hit this one out the ballpark as such.
I think one of the biggest kind of takeaways with questions like this is really the authenticity piece. Like that is something that from day one, a brand owns and owns completely. So I feel like this is where it can get a little more difficult when it comes to how your customer views the brand, because you're like, how will I know? Like truly, like I don't really know. And sentiment is a big piece of it, but you also have to remember that everybody who works for you also understands the brand, also understands the product. There is so much information that can lie within your own teams, your own company, like those point of views, even if they aren't customers or potential customers or even know how the
Mhm.
product works, that's still brand value. That's still authenticity value that could be implemented without kind of questioning, how am I truly seen? Like, if people that you work with don't understand the product or don't really understand why this was implemented in this type of landing page, or literally going around and asking. I worked in R&D for an app group for a really long time, and we would go around to people in every single department, like IT, legal, like the people that you wouldn't traditionally market something to, you know, and be like, hey, is this clear? Like, how would you feel if you saw this, like on an email or like on in a pop-up or something? Like, that is truly the first sign how you can authentically and truly understand how someone, a potential customer or not, reacts to your brand, reacts to the product. So that, I think, is starting from the but from truly the basics is what I would recommend.
Ooh, well, I've got one more that has just come in. I
Yeah,
think,
no,
if
go
you don't
ahead.
mind, let me. This someone's asking specifically for B2B marketing in regards to trusts. What platforms are the best for non-software tech vendors from a review standpoint?
I'm confused by the question. Are you asking for
I think they're saying so.
product recommendations?
I think they're after
or
platform,
like where to find
yeah, for
them?
non-software tech vendors.
So like not.
So I guess not like a tech like Captera maybe, which is tech specific. I guess for me, if I'm going anywhere for kind of reviews, that might not be.
Oh, you can go to G2.
Yeah, I was going to say,
you can absolutely go. Yeah, you can absolutely.
so
I was like,
it's not
if
just.
you're looking for that.
I was going to say, I've got
shameless plug.
one of those leading questions
Yeah.
for you there. I think G2, absolutely. I would also say, from a marketing point of view, when I'm looking for stuff, I still find Google quite good. Google reviews just for bits and pieces. And there's something called, in the UK at least, Chartered Institute of Marketing. They have a number of recommended. Suppliers is the wrong word, but recommendations and so forth for marketeers from that point of view. I'm sorry if we got that wrong, Jake, if from that point of view, but I thought I'd quickly
Jake,
get that one in.
Feel free to message me if you have like additional questions. But yeah, shameless plug to G2.
Absolutely.
We have brand intelligence categories on G2 that all have reviews from different regions. Truly, when I said software is a global product, I meant it. So we do have localization as well if you're not in the UK or the US, if you're concerned about that. But we truly are the Yelp of software. And it is, even if you're not a B2B company, like these software companies have application across the board. It just depends on how you want to use them.
You just said Yelp, and that's reminded me of Yellow Pages here in the UK. Crikey, we're going
exactly.
back now, aren't we?
It is the evolution. It's the Yellow Pages, the Yelp, the Amazon, like, and it's truly from unbiased reviews. And I know, like, you work for them, no. But I know about our QA process. I know that it is brutal. So our team is very, 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 very good at what they do. So if you are looking for a tool like that, start at G2, truly.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much, Victoria. Just before I let you all go, I just wanted to let you know we've got a couple more of these webinars coming up. So we've got one in April that is around celebrity influencer marketing. We've got some great lessons from Dutch Barn Vodka, which if anybody follows Ricky Gervais, that's the vodka that he launched. So we've got the marketing manager that helped launch that to talk around celebrity versus influencer marketing. And we've also got specifically kind of AI in SEO. So by all means, go onto the Spotler website, sign up for those and have a look. And obviously for anybody that wants to know a little bit more about Spotler, make sure you get in touch, book a demo, give us a call. If you're near the office, in Guildford, stop in, say hello. In The Hague, in Germany, we're more than happy to see you. So thank you very much. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Goodbye.